Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors Remarkable Influencers. Today we have Chris and Patti Rood, a couple of the biggest influencers in the real estate space, and they flew in from Lafayette, Louisiana, to talk about entrepreneurship and marriage. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Steve Trang, sales trainer to some of the top investors in the country, and I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. If you get value out of this show, please tag a friend below or share this episode right now. That way we can all grow together. You ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. So let's talk about how you guys initially got into entrepreneurship.
Well,
You were always had.
yeah, I mean,
You always
hell,
had
I mean, in
entrepreneurship
fourth and
in
fifth
your
grade, fifth grade, I was selling baseball cards out of the back of my book sack at spot price, saying, "Hey, this rookie card, this Shaquille O'Neal's gonna be worth more, and then in the next year, you better grab it for $5 now because it's gonna be worth 20, but it's only worth $4 right now, but you can buy it right now, but because it's rare, right? But anyway,
You were selling Shaquille O'Neal rookie cards.
I was selling Shaquille O'Neal rookie cards out of the
That's
back of
awesome.
So, not even know what I was doing, just by pure happenstance. But I think, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always been very salesy, very trying to like make a profit, and from there it kind of graduated into when I was in high school, I knew I was going to start a business. And I would always tell my friends, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a business. And
What were they saying?
well, they laughed at me or told me I was crazy.
But your parents
Yeah.
had businesses too, so
Yeah.
you grew up
So that helped.
experiencing that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my parents are entrepreneurs, both sides. And we, I kind of, I guess they inspired me in a way to be entrepreneurial for sure. But when I got into college, I was working for my dad, and in my sophomore year in college, like, I want to start a business. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to start a business. And I literally got the oil change on my dad's truck because he took me to the quick lube, and people were complaining how long it took. And I was like, I'm just going to go to people's houses and start changing all of the back of my truck. And that was like the start of my entrepreneur.
So you saw
career.
there was some pain, there was some opportunity,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I'm just going to start changing people's oil at their house.
At their house, and that branched into washing our car, and then we started a glass business where we replaced and fixed the glass if it broke, and then that turned into buying physical locations, and then we had a really big business at one time in that space, and then we kind of branched off into real estate. Well, we got into real estate before then too, but yeah, that's kind of the 50,000 foot view.
And you guys were high school sweethearts?
Yes. We've been knowing each other since what, 14,
Eighth grade.
14 years old.
Yeah.
So we've been friends for a long time before we started dating even.
So you got to witness all of this.
Yes. And
Yeah.
we started a family early too. I was
Yeah.
pregnant at 17
Well,
and
Steve, she got me pregnant when I was 17. Let's just call it for what it
it's
is.
all my fault.
The funny story about that is, though, in 8th grade, I told all my buddies, she was hot thing back in high school, right? I was younger. I was in 8th grade. She was a sophomore. I told all my buddies, I'm going to marry that girl one day.
Yeah.
And the universe has a strange way of making things happen to where you get what you want.
Right.
and she ended up getting me pregnant. And
Yeah.
we got married.
So you got to witness and experience this whole thing with the oil change. I mean, it started.
Yes, and it wasn't. I was not all for it before. Like, I was like, whatever, Chris. At the time, we were both still in college too, and we both had. I think we were working like 4 jobs.
Yeah.
And
Carrying 18 hours.
yeah, we were just hustling, right? And so he would always have these different ideas, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I always loved real estate, and I knew eventually I would get into that category because it was in my soul. But when he started with the car wash thing, I was like, I don't know if I like the old, like, I just didn't find a place there.
Mm-hmm.
So while he did that, I was having babies. I was getting my real estate license. So I was doing other things, but I always was just like, letting him do his thing,
So you were there, you were a part of it, obviously, because you guys already had a family together.
Right.
You weren't in love with it.
No.
Well, no, especially when I come back home and I was drenched in oil from head to toe,
Yeah.
like, because I would go change like big 18-wheeler oil changes because you can make a lot of money on those. It's like a $300 oil change.
Okay.
And I'd come back just oil in my hair and all over my suit.
It wasn't the kind of environment I liked.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But it was paying the bills.
But it was paying the bills, and he was growing, and we made it work, and he enjoyed it for a while. The hours were tough.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about that, right? I mean, even though you guys were really young at that time, I mean, this is what a lot of people that when they're starting their entrepreneurial journey, some start young, some start later, some have a full-time job, and they're like, should I quit my job to go chase this dream? I want to talk about some of the biggest challenges. You guys were married at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how was that affecting the marriage? Like, you're working long hours and you're dripped in oil.
Yep. You want me to touch on that first, or you want to?
You can go.
I think for us, I think the biggest challenge is to give value to people that listen. You know, if you're going to be an entrepreneur at a young age, it's your environment, right? Because you're going to get a lot of kickback from family, friends, people that have good intentions that truly love you, but they're going to be worried about you, for one, and two, you're going to have people that are going to get kicked back that just have bad intentions, right? Because anytime somebody rocks the boat, entrepreneurially speaking, and tries to go and make more money, it makes people around them that are not trying to do that insecure. And then they try to pull the rings back on you. Hey, why you want to do that? Hey, that's a bad idea. Hey, you probably shouldn't do that. That's for rich people, or you're stupid, right? So I think for a lot of people is you gotta put blinders on. And for me, and I was a wild kid. From 17 to 22, I had a rock star with no guitar kind of. I was a party. I was wild. I was
rock star with no guitar. I haven't heard that before. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it wasn't a good thing. I mean, it was really bad. Like
he had to focus that energy on something like this,
yeah.
which was always good for me to see him doing that.
I'm an extremist, Steve. Whatever I do, I'm gonna go 120%. You know, if we're gonna party, let's party. If we're gonna, start a business, we're gonna start a business, and we're gonna take it far. So for me, when I found something pro survival to focus all my directed, supposed ADD energy into, whatever that means, then I once I focused that into something that was productive instead of counterproductive, then it sort of paid off dividends in my life. So once I did that, our life expanded in a sense, because I was doing things that were pro survival, making us money, instead of, contra survival, maybe hurting my body and partying. But I think for a lot of people, they're going to have to put blinders on and block out the noise and get super intentional about what they want to do in life.
And but being, super intentional, super focused on that, how did that affect the family? Because, and a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start a business, the business is also a baby.
Yeah.
Right. So how does that affect things?
Yeah.
Because we had 2 kids.
Steve, you're either going to be super intentional about your life, or you're going to fall under other people's intention of what they want you to be intentional about. So does that make sense?
It does.
So you have to block out other people's intention, figure out what you want. Me and my wife sat down and said, hey, look, we want to live an awesome life. We want to make a lot of money. We had this conversation. We want a beach house in Destin. I mean, this is when I was 22 years old.
You guys,
we always,
we do.
We do. But we always had a big vision, and we always worked on our mindset first to help us create that vision and make it a reality. And so, but we knew it was going to take hard work. I mean, it was not easy, because there was a lot of weekends you had to work in that business.
At 22, I literally stopped talking to any and everybody I knew from my past. I stopped. I mean, I stopped partying. I stopped doing everything. All I did was business 7 days a week. I mean, I'd wake up on a Sunday morning and I'd go wash some cars. And I just focused all of my attention. And that's what I think a lot of people are going to heavily underthink how much effort it's going to take to get it off the ground. Like a lot of people, I want to start a business. It sounds sexy.
Right.
Until you got to start doing the work. And you're going to have to ground yourself to realize and humble yourself. You're going to put in 10 times more effort than you would probably at a job, because being an entrepreneur it's a lot harder to be an entrepreneur than to have a job. And then I guess having a job, it's great, but you're going to have to understand that you're going to work so much that it's going to be exhausting, and you're going to have nights where you don't sleep, and it's going to test your marriage, your mental state, everything. I mean, we almost went bankrupt twice in my entrepreneur career, right? Yeah.
And you wear a lot of hats that people don't realize. They think that I just want to call sellers and just go to contracts, and that's it. It's like, no, there's like a whole bunch of other hats you have to wear too.
Yeah. So we got very intentional. We started changing all of the back of my truck, washing cars. I knew a lot of people in the oil field because my family was working in the oil field. So I'd go and drop off cards at people's businesses, and I started building up fleet accounts, right? And I was servicing like 100 and something vehicles every month. In between going to college, I'd change all, go to a class. But by the time I was, a couple years passed, we graduated college, and I realized I needed physical locations with real estate. I can't scale an on-site chasing. I had two or three guys helping me, but I just couldn't scale that because I'm chasing. So I wanted to get a physical location. And we ended up, catching a really good motivated seller from a lube shop that the tenant wasn't paying the rent. And I called one of it, and I called the owner and said, hey, kick him out. I'll pick it up. And that was our first shop we picked up. Doubled my income when I got that shop. And it condensed time because I didn't have to go and do all the on-site stuff. Although we still did on-site auto glass repair and replacement, but I didn't have to chase for the oil changes and car wash. They would come to me.
So for you, right? I mean, so he's chasing this dream.
Yeah.
And
so I was raising two to
babies,
three kids within those years. And I think the good thing about Chris is it's hard raising all those kids, especially by yourself when he's working all the time. It's like he knew when he came home, he had to prepare that I was probably going to be upset, aggravated, stressed out, but he just
Exhausted.
gave me grace. And I think a lot of it is grace. He understood where I was coming from, and I understood he had to work, but it still sucks. I mean, there's still a suck element, and you just have to both agree, well, this sucks. It's not your fault, but it's not my fault. It just sucks, and we have to get through it. And the more we work, the faster we can get help and all those other things that'll make it easier.
It's struggle and resistance, right? You have to understand as an entrepreneur, and when you're starting this journey, especially when you marry, a marriage is struggle and resistance. Yeah. It's pushing through the struggle and resistance long enough to where the resistance and the struggle and the barriers disappear. And then you have a new struggle and new barriers. But then once you got past them old previous barriers and struggles, you've opened up more freedom because you're making more money. So life gets a little bit easier, but then you set new goals. So I think you just have to have that mindset. I have resistance, and I'm gonna have struggle in my marriage, my business, as an entrepreneur, everything. And just like she said, accept the suck and just push through it.
Were you like when Chris was walking through the door, you're like just throwing the baby at him?
Well, after he bathed, because he was a mess, because I'm weird like that. But yeah, but he was always a hard worker. I mean, he's great with his kids, so he always made an effort to have time with them, even though he was working a lot of times. So I never really had to push for him to I never had to force that on him. That was something he was naturally great at.
Yeah.
And you had not started the real estate agent thing yet.
After the third baby was born, I did. I got my real estate license, and I slowly got help with the kids. And my older two were older, so they were in school at that point. So it was just a little one that I had. So I started being an agent, selling houses, and that was truly I've always wanted to be in real estate. I had a natural knack for it, I guess. And I was waiting tables at a place where there was tons of realtors that would come in. So I would get feedback from how they liked it. And so I just thought it would be something I would enjoy. And I still enjoy it. We've just kind of progressed into a different type of agent. I just do listings now.
She just lists our flips pretty much.
Yeah. So, but that's when we started to convert our business into more real estate and less.
Yeah, I mean, so after I got that first shop from a motivated seller from, kicking the tenant out that didn't pay, then that was around 2005, right before the crash, the big crash, right? We saw that the writing on the wall. People were selling that. They'd buy a house, they'd sell it 3 months later, make $20,000, But we had built a spec home previously. We had lived in a house for 5 years maybe.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, we got to sell this property. And we painted a few rooms and we landscaped, we put it on the market. And I think we were 25 at the time. The house sold for sale by owner within 30 days, and we made $125,000. 25, that's a lot of money for a 25-year-old back in 2005.
A lot of money right now for me as a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
Put that out there.
So, I think this is the pivotal thing. I think that people can get a lot of, this is very pertinent in that a lot of people are taking that $125,000, especially the age we live in now, and buy a Lambo or go buy a $25,000 watch, and it's just not real in the sense that there's just no return on that. We took that $125,000, we bought an $850,000. We leveraged that and put it as a down payment. We bought an $850,000 shop on the busiest intersection from another motivated seller, from a guy that wasn't paying his taxes that we called went up because we knew some of his employees. So you
just had your ears everywhere.
Yeah. So I contacted him and said, look, I'll buy you out. I know you're in a bind. Let's just make the deal work. So I was fortunate enough that I had good credit at the time. I called SBA, got an SBA loan. I put 25% down, gave them that $125,000, bought that shop, doubled my income again. Right. Then from there, I started building up a lot of capital, and then we were picking up shops. We started built up to like 4 shops, and I think that's a key for me. I just look back at my journey as an entrepreneur, is reinvesting your profits early back into your business and not even just that, back. Like I was going to seminars, I was taking classes. Like when I say I was like a freak when it came to like personal development, I was doing this at 22. I was taking class on business, entrepreneurship, sales, like all kind of stuff. We dumped every penny we had into either personal development or real estate in their business.
Did you graduate college?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did go through finish all that.
Yes, I finished his last year for him.
Now, Steve, just to be completely transparent, I cheated my way through college. I'm not the sharpest.
I did all his online classes because he was working so much, and I was like, dude, you have to finish. You only have like 3 classes left.
I'm not that bright when it comes to like schooling, but I can get shit done.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason why I'm asking this question, right? Because like today, right, if you were to talk to 18-year-old Chris, will you still push him to college?
Oh man.
No, actually, neither one of us truly really wanted to go to college. My parents
let's just be
insisted.
frank, folks. College is a scam.
Not for everyone.
Listen, no, not for everyone. I'm not generalizing, but for 80% of people, you should be not going to college.
Right.
It was my parents' dream for me to go to college, and they paid for it, and I went for them, but I never used it.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon, right? If you're an entrepreneur, it's like you did it because you're supposed to.
Yes. Exactly. It's one of those, those things that you're supposed to, is your parents supposed to, and they love you for it, and they think they're doing what's best for you, but it goes back to that, what I was saying earlier, like, their intention, that you get caught up in somebody else's intention of what they think is the best intention for you, which is not always the best intention.
Right. And so then going back to, at 22, as a business owner, now you're investing in your education.
Right.
But this education is pertinent to what you're doing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, nothing against, if you're 19 and your mom's saying you need to go to school and you want to be a nurse or an engineer, or you specialize in being a doctor, an attorney, that's sure, you need to go to college.
Yeah.
But there is guys and girls I know out there right now that went to AC school that make $650,000 a year and live a better life than some attorneys.
And there's lost trades out there. Like they need people in those industries, and
Plumbers,
it's just not pushed enough
AC
like it should
carpenters. Be. I mean, there's so many those lost arts that are, we can't find nobody to do it now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got a college degree making $50,000 a year and they're broke.
And no skills.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're starting the real estate agent thing, and then how long were you showing buyers and sellers before you were like, you know what, let's just focus on the investment side?
Well, in the meantime, we were still buying investments. So when we sold that one house and flipped it in, we bought a foreclosure that needed work in a great area. And we also bought a piece of property. So we were still intermixing like the investing during that time. And so we flipped that house within, I think it was 18 months or so. We flipped that house, sold it.
Made $65,000. We bought another down payment for another shop on that one. And
then we sold some land.
Yeah, made $25,000-$30,000.
Yeah,
real quick.
on that one. That was easy, quick sale. So we were doing it on a small scale. Like I knew it was something I wanted to do, but we were doing it just one at a time, small scale. And then when the shit hit the fan.
Our 2008 wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. Like the oil field carried the South.
Yeah.
Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. We did fairly well during the 2008 crash. Our 2008 crash was 2014 when oil went from $128 a barrel to $28 a barrel. We lost thousands of jobs in the South. Lafayette got crushed. My shops got crushed. I mean,
we lost all our oil field accounts.
I mean, 60-70% of my business was oil field accounts, and I just had my third baby with her, and it was scary. And this is right around the time I had, during that whole, right before, I think from 2012 to 2014, I bought like $3 million worth of single family homes just as investments, making a bunch of offers on MLS. And I bought them I didn't buy them. I didn't know the wholesale model yet, right? Mm-hmm. That's where if I tell anybody, learn how to go direct to seller, and the name of the game is motivated seller, right? And I didn't know what I did that. I applied that with the business model for the oil change in the mechanic shop. I found motivated sellers, right? Mm-hmm. That model goes, it transcends every other model. But I was buying properties I should have had no business buying because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just making a bunch of offers, buying them at 80, 85 cents on the dollar. Well, 80, 85 cents on the dollar on the top end of a market is really 100% when the market pulls back.
Right.
And that's what happened in 2014 for us. Lost a bunch of oil field accounts. All the houses I bought that I was renting out to oil field workers that were going offshore, making, 80, 100, 120,000 a year. That was getting $15, $17, $2,000 a month. They couldn't pay.
And I think you held a lot of this in with, because I had more babies at that time too. We had a lot of little ones at home. And I don't think he told me everything because he didn't want to bring that stress on me. He took on a lot of that stress by himself, just because he felt like he was protecting me. So how do you feel about that? Like knowing that now, right? No, I mean, I know he did it for good reason. Like,
right.
I mean, you know how it is after you have a
know
baby.
how
You're an
bad.
emotional mess already. So he knew that I couldn't handle
I'm asking
that.
this question because I think a lot of husbands and wives, right? Like one thing that we talk about, the trials and tribulations. It's tough being a business owner, entrepreneur, right? But I think it's harder to be married to one, and I get to witness it every day at home.
Yeah.
So, like knowing what you know now, was it the right thing for him to do to kind of hold back how bad it was?
I think it was the right thing to him to do, knowing myself personally, because I'm an anxious person, if you can't tell. So, and I just had, a baby, and he just didn't want to put that pressure on me. He knew he could handle it on his own. So I'm not upset for him doing that. I know why he did.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad, Steve. I mean, half the rentals went empty, so I had to cover notes on that with no rent. Every quarter since that crash, I was losing 10, 15% revenue. And then it got to a point where down the road, I think what is it, like a year later, I was losing $20,000, $30,000 a month. But by the grace of God, I saw the writing. When 2014 hit, I was like, okay, this game is over. We had a good long run. I made money for 10 years in the oil change business. I had a great life. It gave us a great way of living. But when that 2014 hit, about 3 months into it, I was like, I have to do real estate full time.
Yeah. So you saw the writing on the wall, and you made the pivot.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it.
Yes.
Yep.
And I was all for it because that was a part of it I loved and I could get into because I could be more involved than how it was with the shop.
Yeah, so started wholesaling, watched a bunch of guys on YouTube, started wholesaling on my own, did it a little bit, then I made a little bit of money, then hired a bunch of mentors, then I started slaying it. I was making 70, 80, 50, 100 grand, a month, and I was able to cover all those losses.
Yeah.
So that saved me. And from there, she started coming on board on, I said, this is the winning horse. This is the new business. Let's focus all of our attention, all of our mental capacity and bandwidth into building a real estate empire. And that's where
we started going to masterminds and focusing that together as a team.
And I think that's important what you just said. It's very pertinent, you guys watching, together as a team. You notice I bring my wife everywhere with me because it's not just because she's better looking than me. It's because I want her to grow with me, right? Two horses, pulling the same sled versus just one horse is totally different. And it'll give you extra horsepower if you bring your wife with you and do this journey together of entrepreneurship, personal development. You'll get a lot more done, and your vision will be pushed harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And I loved it. It was like our first event. Because I had never been to a mastermind or any kind of event like that before. And I was like, man, it's like church for business. Like, I loved it. I was like, I could get into this. Like, it just, because I was in mom mode for so long that it gave me like a new passion, I guess. And that was like, I'm on board.
Well, and Steve, and just because I'm thinking out loud, because I want to make sure we do the sequence of events correctly and give value. Like, people probably saying, well, how are y'all doing this with 5 kids?
Yeah.
And we're doing this because it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way we do it. We don't just our kids were with 2 nannies right now. We have full-time nannies. And I think for you guys, and we spend a lot of time with our kids, but you have to have help.
Yeah.
And help costs money. But when you start making money, you can, and look, I consider myself a high performance person. I consider our marriage a high performance marriage. It's not for everybody. I'm not claiming it to know it all. I'm not saying that this is the way you should do it. I'm just saying this is how we do it, and it worked for us. And we just want to give perspective on how that works, because some people are like, well, how can you leave your kids and do this? And
we created the ideal scene to make it okay to leave our kids. And
but we bring our kids with us a lot of times too.
We do. We bring some up more now because they're getting older that we could bring them with us. But we just create an environment that's workable for our life.
Well, let's talk about what that environment looks like. That's what that environment looks like. Controlled environment. That's what that environment is. It's me and my wife calling all the shots. We know what's best for our kids, not a government, right? Mm-hmm. We homeschool them. We have 2 nannies. We control everything that goes in and out of their mind. They see us doing everything we do, and they're gonna think that's normal when they get older. You know, they don't even know what they don't know right now. But mommy and daddy have to, argue about a deal at night because something went wrong. That's just normal. That's
part of the business.
Part of the business. Or they
homeschool in our office. So we have a private teacher that comes to our office, our real estate office. So they see rents being dropped off. They deal with the drama of people don't want to pay rent. They see all of that too. They see how hard we work. And they have their environment is school and work and us. So we're all commingling all of that together to where it works. And so it's like a life work balance. And that's been the best way for us to do it. We've tried so many different things.
Steve, this is the golden
goose for us. What did you try that didn't work?
School.
Well, at one point we had them in private schools, and it was like there were 4 different schools. I was having to drop them off at 4 different places every morning, picking them up at 4 different places. It was costing me a small fortune. Constant complaints, drama with school. It was just like, it was sucking the life out of me, honestly. My soul was like,
the kid can't sit still. Well, no shit, he can't sit still. He's 9 years old. He wants to run outside.
So during work, we were getting calls like that. We were having to, stop everything we're doing to do that, or we couldn't travel as much because of that. So we're like, there's got to be a better way. So I'm like, why aren't we're paying all this money in private school tuition?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of money you pay in private.
Why aren't we hiring our own teacher? So I just put it out there. I'm like, I'm looking for a teacher, and I want her to be able to teach all my kids. You're going to have a flexible environment, and you're going to be able to create your own little entrepreneurship class within this school. And we found the perfect person, and it has been awesome. We've been doing it this is our 3rd year. And we'll never go back. It's like, this has been life-changing for us. We can work more and see our kids more, and
travel.
Our kids are happier. They get to do more sports. More
sports and more activities. They can do what they want.
They can do more activities because you're homeschooling.
Right.
Yeah. So. I mean, the amount of schooling, sitting in a class for 8 hours, I don't think that's healthy. I think kids should that should be cut in half, and the other half should be in activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
So what was really cool is that when you guys first started, you guys had a conversation about the entrepreneurial dream, the vision, and working together and acknowledging that it was going to suck for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's awesome.
We had a vision board, and we knew it was going to not be easy.
But it wasn't perfect this whole time.
Well, let's back up about that vision board. We watched when I was 23 or 24. We watched this movie, and you probably know it, the Secret. Mm-hmm. That really resonated with me and Patti.
Yeah.
The book and the movie. We watched the book and the movie. And I'm not saying it's hocus pocus. I'm not saying it's real. But I can tell you it's been real for us because we've applied those principles. We've had a vision. We work at it every day. We put it on a board. And I actually sit there and daydream about it and visualize it and manifest it into our lives. And we have done every bit of that. And it works, right? Yep. The vision works. The action behind the vision is secondary to the vision, folks. We live in a world of science, and thoughts are things. Physics has proven that it's a vibration, it's a frequency. Mm-hmm. And whatever you put out there as a thought, a vibration and frequency, you will attract people, happenstances, events, and things you want into your life. So you got to be careful about what you think about and what you don't want and what you want. Because the problem is, I think a lot of people think about what they don't want more than what they do want, and they pull, they maybe manifest that more. So
what you put in your head is really important.
Absolutely. So it's the mindset behind what you want to do.
Right.
And then it's the action. And I think, and then a tertiary to that, I think it's controlling your environment and staying away from.
That's been our biggest struggle, honestly. With our marriage is the environment.
You really gotta cut everybody out of your life. I'm just being honest with you.
It's a hard lesson.
Listen.
What was the lesson?
We don't people, right? I just don't. We don't people with people
who like
the people. I'm not a people person. Most people hang out with me like, dude, what is wrong with it? I don't people. I don't hang out. I don't sit down and drink and hang out and drink a six-pack, watch sports.
It gives him a hangover.
It gives me anxiety when I've tried to like hang out and chill. I can't do it. I have a panic attack.
We were talking earlier, like
I think about all the stuff I got to do in the back of my mind. Like,
yeah, like we can't just chill at the beach. Like we have to be working while we're there too. Like that's just how we
talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
like,
we can't just pause.
Right.
No, it's built in, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, or it's just who I am, and I'm not going to validate who I am as a person. So,
but going back to environment, like for us, our struggle was family coming into our marriage, like bringing that third party problem into the life we're trying to create to young people, you know. And that was when we could turn the corner, is when we learned like how to put a barrier between those people and just focus on us.
You just said a good point. You got in a marriage, you got to have barriers, and especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to have some super barriers of where the breaking point is, where people can't cross that line, or people can't get inside of your head or your marriage. And good, bad, or ugly, you know, your friends, family, you know, mom, dad, brother, sister, they may have good intentions towards you, but if they're not entrepreneurial, they will not relate to you, and they're going to think you're batshit crazy. And maybe we are.
Create problems.
So you cannot.
They were just inserting some seeds of doubt.
Yeah, what that
seeds of doubt and just
you know, just
random.
It's just
trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
how you raise your kids.
Right.
What you're doing to,
as you grow up. I mean, I think parents have good intentions.
In
they having to let go of their kids, and you're your own family now. We want to raise our family and do the things we want to do, right? Not what you want us to do. It goes back to intention, right? And other people's intentions. So we really put up strong, heavy barriers. Nobody comes in my space. Yeah. You can't get in Chris Rood's head. Like I know what I want, and she knows what she wants. And ain't nobody can tell me different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like that was the turning point of when we could really just peak, because we just stopped getting rid of all the drama. Like that took up so much time and stress and anxiety.
Well, even friends from high school and like, you know, people with drama. Like, I'm like, why do we hang out with these? Because we went to high school, or in grade school, we're supposed to keep hanging out with them after high school?
Because their drama became our drama, and here we are trying to work. You know, like, okay, we don't have time for all this. Yeah. Like, we need to
just remove the negative
focus on us, and that's what we did. Put the barriers and focus on
a lot of younger
us.
people, they still do the same things they did in high school, as they did in college, as they did when they get married, and then they wake up, they're 35, 40 years old, and they're still in the same place they were 20 years ago. Like, you got to move on. There's levels.
Yeah.
And those levels contain different people in them, and you got to move on and get better quality people in your life. You know, get the junk out of your space, and people are problems, Steve. The more people, the more problems.
Yeah,
I've experienced that firsthand. I want high quality, high level people in high level conversations. Like I say this all, I don't have friends. I have allies. If you're not having sex with me, giving me value, or helping make money, I ain't got nothing to do with you. And that's a hard pill to swallow for most people. That sounds like shit, Chris. It works for me, guys.
You know, it's actually
and thankfully for her, she's the only person to have sex with.
Yeah.
There was someone was asking me in a coaching call, and it was like, I'm having a hard time, like, you know, I'm losing friendships and this and that. Like, how do I become a better friend? And I was like, you're asking the wrong person. Like, I just don't know how to be a good friend anymore. Like, we have allies. Like, we're all going towards the same mission. We're all got the same goals. We're all in alignment. Yeah. But like, if you're not on that same, you know, boat, train, whatever, if you're not on it with me, it's kind of hard.
It is, Steve. And if you're watching this and you think to yourself, man, that makes a lot of sense, Chris. You think about it. What is the value of the relationship you have with that person? Is the value a hangover, or is the value maybe more money or an opportunity? And that's how you have to weigh out relationships, right?
Well, and a lot of people, I think, in marriage are more focused on their friends than they are their marriage. Like, that's your friend. That's your best friend. Like, focus that attention that you're trying to give to someone else, to your spouse.
And to add to that, Patti, you know, I think a lot of people struggle with their marriage. I mean, most of our friends that got married in high school and college, they're all divorced. I'd say at least 60% of people we know that got married are divorced now. And like, I'm not that smart, Steve. What I am is very observant. And I know that I don't know, and I like to learn. Like, I'm a ferocious learner. Like, I read for 2 to 3 hours a day, and it is my hobby. Like, that's what I love to do.
Don't mess with him.
And I get angry if you mess with me. Like, I mean, she knows firsthand. My kids, like, I get. That's what I do. I like that. So I want to learn, and I learn. And I just want to know what's going on about life. So I just look and read. But anyway, so the point is that I lost my train of thought on that. But
you got to focus on your internal learning and your relationship. All that energy you bring in outside to friends and
we're talking about friends,
family members.
It's taken away from
yourself or your partner or your kid.
Yeah, so that's what I meant to say. So basically, what I've noticed about marriage is that if you're not, you have to. It came to me and I lost it again. Shit, Steve, I'm drinking too much coffee.
Well, let's talk about. You guys started off again, with the marriage, and you guys were very intentional with it, and you guys were very clear.
That's what it was. I mean, before I forget, Steve. Yeah. Secrets. That's what I kept popping in my mind. Secrets destroy marriages, folks.
Yeah.
The reason why you can't keep your marriage together, and I've seen it with all my friends that have gotten divorced, they got nasty, dirty, hairy secrets. And that goes on a lot in marriage, and that slowly erodes the integrity of a marriage.
The trust.
And trust. And it may take a year, 2 years, 5 years, but once you have those dirty secrets and you don't have clear, open communications about what your struggles are. Like, we talk about everything. There's nothing I hide from my wife. Nothing. If I have an insecurity, I'll tell her. If I feel like I did something wrong, I tell her. And that keeps that bond strong and the secrets.
And then there's nothing in between that's a struggle. I'm not hiding from him. He's not hiding from me. There's no.
So let's go back to what we were talking about earlier, though. When you were having financial struggles.
Yeah.
And you kept that from her. Right? Did that cause problems?
Well, okay, let me elaborate on that. He did tell me that we were, we had to calm down, like, with our spending. Like, he didn't tell me the ugly truth. He told me
there was no need to. There's some things that
there's some things that you don't need to scare the other person. Like, if you know
it
that
wouldn't
they
add
wouldn't
value or helped her by telling her, hey, we're about to go bankrupt. And she just had a baby. It's just not necessary.
Yeah. Right? So it's like he gave me the cliff notes, but he didn't tell me the whole book.
Yeah.
I just didn't need to know that at that time. And I think we know each other good enough that we can feel those things out.
Yep.
So I want to ask, though, like, it wasn't easy this whole time.
No.
Right. So there must have been some low points or some extreme challenges in the marriage, because that's what I really want to focus on. Like, people that are business owners and are married, like, there's some massive adversity.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges?
Well, I think the other people coming into our marriage giving us opinions like, maybe I should be parenting this way, or I should be doing the things this way, and then. Or
that business is a dumb idea.
Everybody's that was our biggest downfall. Our first year of marriage was, people trying to tell us how to parent and what we needed to do in our life. And we were like, hey, hold up. We're two young people and we each had like 4 jobs at the time. Clearly we were doing something right. We were like hustling our asses off. Our kids were taken care of. So we didn't need outside help telling us all these things. And so we would argue about those outside ideas that we knew we didn't agree on anyway. So once we took out that outside person and put that barrier there, and it's not just one person, it's been several
it's multiple
people.
I mean, you're going to have new people that pop up.
We put those barriers there, and that was it. We really never had any marriage struggles after that.
And this is why we don't hang out with other married couples and chill, right? Like, that's recipe for problems, right? Like, we're so busy in our business of living and building wealth and doing real estate deals and trying to leave a legacy and just be a great example to our kids. We don't have time to hang out with people. We don't have friends or hang out with married couples. Like, when we have extra time, we're with our kids. We're with our kids, right? We mix business with pleasure, with real estate, with our kids. Like, everything is mixed up. Like, it's just, and I feel for me and Patti, we've created the ideal scene for us. And I love my life. Like, I'm a happy man, and I can honestly say that, Steve. Like, I'm not some like bullshit guy saying, like, I'm living my best life. I'm 40 years old. I got 5 kids. I got a beautiful wife. I make millions of dollars in real estate every year. I'm building my net worth every month. We're buying millions of dollars of real estate every other month. Like, I'm a happy man, right?
So then we've been talking about this, right? But if you could just articulate maybe in a few sentences, like, what is the key from each of you, right? I want to hear from both of you guys. What is the key then to creating a great marriage inside an entrepreneurship?
Well, we have this common goal. that we want to, we love real estate. We want to keep on doing real estate, and we want to do it together as a team. And we created that ideal scene on a sheet of paper, just like a vision board, right? This is how we want our kids' school to look like. This is how we want our vacation homes to look like. This is where we want to retire. This is what we have that all mapped out, and we just focus together as a team and do all of that together. And it's just, we have the same goals,
For me, Steve, it's a commonality of goals and purposes. We're both aligned in a sense that we're very purpose driven. We know what we want. So there's no noise in the background. Like, that's what we want. Like, we're not sure. A lot of people walking around life and they're not even sure what they want. And that's the biggest problem. You don't know what you want yet. Figure out what you want, put it on paper, have a purpose, and just hyper focus on that, and get away from being pleasure driven, right? Be purpose driven. A lot of people on this planet are pleasure driven. You see it all over the planet. Everybody wants to, go hang out and chill all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But your purpose can be your pleasure too,
right? But you got to have a equal combination of purpose driven and pleasure driven, right? Because a lot of people, it's all pleasure driven, and they get nothing done in their life, and they wake up and they're 50 years old, and where'd life go by? Like, build something of integrity.
Well,
and
I think what hurts me the most that I see is, okay, I see people who hate their jobs every day, and I'm like, man, how do people wake up every day going to a job they hate? Like, clearly they have not found their purpose. Like, that is not what I wanted to do with our life. Like, we love real estate. Like, we get giddy in the car when we find a deal. Like, we act stupid. And
I'll literally get out of the car and start dancing.
Yeah. Like, we just love it. So I think we can be happy because we are truly happy with what we're doing. And I think I love real estate, so it helped. Like, for instance, we couldn't take the all change shop to the next level because it wasn't for me. It was like, I couldn't really get into it. It was not a purpose. I don't know. It wasn't my purpose.
And I think figuring out the money piece, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because money's a big deal in marriage. I think half the marriage. I think one half is from cheating, and the other half is money problems, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, but nobody wants to talk about it because it's a dirty word. Like, you got to figure that piece out. You got to have an abundance of money to live a good life. Like, I mean, is money everything? No, but it's a big part.
It helps with problems, and things are expensive.
I can buy babysitters. I can get, my house clean. I mean, I'm so busy. I don't have time to clean my house. I mean, I haven't cut my grass in 10, 15 years. Like, I don't have time to do all that. But being that I do well and I make an abundance of money, I can get people to do all that
usually
for
at
me.
the beginning, that's where all the arguments are. Why are you not cutting the grass? Why are you not cleaning the house?
Yeah.
Those are the arguments.
You can make those problems go away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we always had an agreement, like, okay, we want people to help us do this, like, because we don't want to be
not the highest and best use of our time at all.
Do you guys have family meetings? Do you guys have, like, we talk about in business, you have these weekly level 10 meetings. Do you guys have family meetings?
Steve, that's an all day, everyday occurrence. Like, we don't set up a time where, like, I'm in meetings all day. Like, I tell her, like, I'm a repeater. I talk to myself, and she just listens a lot because I could give you very aggravating in the sense that I repeat myself. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this, Patty. I'm going to do this. She's like, okay, Chris, you told me that 10 times. So we are always in a meeting. And when we're not in the meeting, we're working on what we've been talking about all day in the meeting. So did we have a designated time?
Every once in a while, we did it for a while with the kids. For when they were acting rowdy, we would kind of sit them all down on Sunday nights and stuff.
We did that for a little while.
Better now.
But they're getting older.
They're getting older.
Life is getting more stabilized. I'm 40. Our kids are out of diapers.
And I want to put this out there too. Okay, it's really, really, really hard raising little ones. It really is so hard. I think the reason why we were able to make marriage work in all those times too, because he gave me so much grace. Because I was not like Mother Goose. Like, I wasn't like awesome at being a mother. Like, he wanted all these kids, and I was like, I mean, what do I even do with these kids? Like, he gave me a lot of grace with that. I think
he wasn't coming home. He was like, why is my dinner not ready?
Exactly. His expectations were rational. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And sacrifice, Steve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sacrifice. Like, you want a great life, you want a great marriage, stay disciplined and sacrifice
and we remind ourselves that too when something sucks. We're like, man, this is a sacrifice.
Something big's coming.
Yeah.
Anytime there's resistance in your life, you're up against a barrier because you're about to break through to the other side of that barrier, which is massive freedom.
I love that mindset.
Yeah.
So I think the key here, then, the big thing really is just the intentionality of it.
Yes.
It's just, you guys are very intentional about your business, but you're also very intentional about your marriage, your kids, your family.
Yes.
Person, like, it's the top of mind.
Yes.
It's not like, I'll get to it.
Completely open about everything when it comes to that.
Yeah. So I want to hit on a couple other things too, because you kind of mentioned earlier, it's 10 times harder. And, there's obviously a guy that wrote a book about that. And so you were like on his channel and you're the go-to guy for wholesale. If someone asks Grant Cardone about wholesale, he goes to you.
Right.
How did you create that relationship?
With Grant?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a hard pill for most people to swallow. Buy your friends, folks.
No.
You want the highest quality allies and friends? Buy them. Buy your way into rooms. Buy your way into masterminds. Buy your way into a relationship that creates a barrier. What happens on the other side of barriers if you can get past them? More freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So I intentionally seek out extraordinarily awesome, interesting people on this planet, and I want to be around them.
Yeah.
Because I want to steal their knowingness. I'm selfish in that way. That's why I come over here and hang out with Steve Trang, because he's got he's got this awesome podcast, right?
Yeah.
But I want to be around extraordinarily awesome people. I've got maybe 40, 50 years left on this earth, and I want to live the best life I can. And it's not going to be at the bar. It's not going to be at the, ice hockey game or football game. It's going to be in a controlled environment where there's a barrier to get in there. And I want to be in that room.
So then are you saying you bought into a mastermind? You bought into...
Yeah, so I basically went to the first 10X, right, in
When
Miami.
we bought the most expensive ticket.
Well, the most expensive ticket, I sat right next to Tim Grover, me and my wife, the whole Michael Jordan's mentor, the whole time. Got to
Is
hang
that next
out
to
with
Tim
him
Grover the whole time?
the whole time. So
I
that
had
must
no
have-
idea who he
for
was
2
till he
straight
went up.
days.
I was like, oh, okay.
That must have been so intense because Tim's a super intense guy.
Oh, yeah.
You're a super intense guy. I mean, I just
I was
imagine.
in the middle. It was interesting.
Yeah, no, he's phenomenal, man. I mean, he's
He's awesome.
You don't have results like that if you're not an extraordinary person,
Yeah.
right? Creates a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, all the other guys he's working with, but it attracts the best people in a room when you can go to these events. But I went to the 10X Growth Con, and because I had my eye on Grant, this is probably 5-6 years ago, because he was saying things that resonated with me, but nobody else is saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes for a lot of people that followed Grant.
I think y'all have a similar...
Yeah, he would talk. I mean, I had a lot of similar things. Yeah, I mean, he said he's on drugs. I think a lot of people can relate to that. So I've struggled with drugs when I was younger, from
Rock star without a guitar.
Yeah, I mean, I was I'm a weirdo, Steve. Like, I'm a strange dude, and I think that I resonated with him in the sense that he said it's okay to be strange and weird and just fucking go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody starts talking like that, it got my attention.
Yeah.
And when I went to the 10X Growth Con and like 10X this and yada yada, I was like, man, this makes sense. Like Patti said, it's like church for business. That's how I felt when I left. And when we left there, we booked a meeting with Grant to talk to him about what we were doing. And you could do a mastermind for an hour with Grant. So I paid $5,000 to spend 30 minutes with Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably one of the best, $5,000. And then from there, he got to know who I was, my wife. He liked us, built a relationship. Like, man, I like what you're doing in wholesaling. I don't know. I never even heard of wholesaling. This is totally new. Why don't you come and let's do something together, in my studios, and you can start teaching my audience what wholesaling is. One thing led to another. I started doing that. And then we sponsored GrowthCon 2. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It was $100,000. I stroked a check for $100,000
Wow.
to sponsor GrowthCon. But I knew I was going to get around a lot of awesome people, that I was going to put myself in a room amongst extraordinarily awesome people. And it was the fastest way to level up and skill up. And that's the cheat sheet for life, is to buy your way into...
It's a great lesson. And I think that people don't appreciate it enough. And that leads me to my next thing. Because Max Menez and I,
Mm-hmm.
we came down to Skillathon. And what I said to everyone was like, that was an event that was way better than I thought it was going to be. I was like, Chris' event is going to be awesome. But the people that were on the stage speaking, it was crazy. We got, was it Miguel,
Mhm.
right? With the solar.
Yep.
We got Judge Graham. We had
Vic Tipness.
Yeah, Vic Tipness. Like, it was just mind blowing, the people that were there. And it all goes back to buying your way into a
That's
room.
right.
Yep.
We met all those great people, a lot of them through the GrowthCon events too.
Highest quality people on the planet, I truly believe, go to masterminds and
Yeah.
events like that.
But we were blown away. I mean, like Max and I, when we came back, we're like, okay, we suck. Like, we're not, we're on our way, but like, man, those guys, they've arrived. They're
Mhm.
not like on their way. Like, they've arrived. I mean, selling your where they were doing like 8 figures a year annually, like,
Yep.
or no, 9 figures.
Yeah.
Right? They're doing 9 figures a year annually. Like,
Yeah,
we're
they had
playing
some
small.
guys speaking on stage doing those numbers. And that's the thing is you got to humble yourself. Most of those guys make more money than me.
Yeah.
I don't care. I want to know what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Show me what you're doing. Like, and I think that's what you have to do to humble yourself, because you hear this all the time. Like, because this is a big thing too. If you're trying to do this, you're going to get a lot of kickback. Because I got kickback even when I started spending a lot of money on getting into rooms and doing sponsoring. I sponsored Girls Con twice. It's $200,000. Not once. I sponsored it twice.
Wow.
And for people that try to go to masterminds, especially if they're young, even if they're not young, their wife may tell them, their mom or dad may tell them, that's stupid. That's a scam. How many times you heard that, Steve? That's a scam. You're going to get ripped off.
Yeah.
It's a scarcity mindset in that person's mind that's either intentionally or unintentionally trying to hold you back from doing and living your best life, because they just have some insecurities, man. And that's what it boils down to.
It's a scarcity mindset. And I think the big thing, kind of like you mentioned a moment ago, is once you buy your way into that room, the other people that are also buying into that room
That's right.
are such abundance-minded people, such great givers, that like the fact that they'll just tell you, they'll just like, here's what I did. Exactly. They'll give you the roadmap.
Iron sharpens iron.
Oh, and Robert Sisler, that was the other guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Robert
Robert's
Sisler.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So then the other thing that was really cool, which is not entrepreneurship, was that I'm not a crawfish person. Like a lot of people in my family are crawfish people, but you're like, you got to try this crawfish attitude. You got to try. I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I think I had 3 servings of it.
Everybody has at least 2 servings.
We have never had anybody come to our mastermind or come to our events where Big Mama Rood has this famous crawfish etouffee that is insane.
Yeah.
They've never heard of crawfish, and they think it's a mud bug or whatever, and it's dirty. They're eating like, what is this stuff?
Yeah. That was an incredible meal. I told my wife, like, if we ever go back to New Orleans, like we have to, or Louisiana, we have to get this. I don't know where else they sell it.
Well, you have to make sure
It's Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was also a life altering experience.
I'm glad, because we want to do that. We want to bring like our heritage to other people when they come to. It's just
South
a little
Louisiana,
bit of us,
right?
Yeah.
that we get to enjoy with other people.
Yeah. So, is there any? Well, I guess right now, you got that cap.
Yeah.
What are you excited about right now?
I'm excited about the opportunity there is in affordable housing. It's funny, we woke up. I mean, we got to our hotel. I'm over here because I got to speak at another event at Carlos, Ray, and all of them. I'm speaking their momentum thing tomorrow. Right when we got to our room, Patti puts the TV on. We don't even have cable at our house. We're like, Patti said, put the TV on. We don't get anything else to do. The first thing that comes on in the news is, update. Arizona massively needs more affordable housing.
It does.
Got my attention. I was like, see,
We're like,
Patti,
no
we're in the right
way.
direction. We're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And for me, I've been doing mobile home park investing now for about 4.5 years. And what got me into mobile home park investing is Warren Buffett was talking about this 5 and 6 years ago. And I read an article about him saying that mobile home parks and mobile homes are the last vestiges of affordable housing. And that the way the demographics are going, because demographics don't lie, right? That there's going to be a huge housing crisis soon. And when I saw that made a lot of sense. I had just finished doing a bunch of apartments and single family homes, and the returns are lackluster, right? For me, I can buy a mobile home, and we do a ton of wholesaling and flipping in the South. We just started doing it, nationwide virtually. But for me, before I got into the mobile home park model, I would get these leads from mobile homes and I didn't know what to do with them because they needed to move them. And I don't do that, man. Now, like we buy these distressed mobile home parks, 20, 30, 40 units. Maybe they're missing 5, 10 trailers, or we have to haul out 5 or 10 because they're too messed up. I can pick up trailers for $5,000, $10,000. I've even paid $2,500 for trailers. I bought a 2009 trailer, Clayton, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Literally, it's hardly lived in because it was a camp. It's in mint condition. I paid $5,000 for it. They paid $32,000 for it back in 2009. I hauled it for $2,500. I set it up for another $3,000. Closing costs. I'm all in at like $11,000. I'm getting $850 a month on an $11,000 investment. What does that in real estate? Nothing. Nothing. So that's when a light bulb, so for me, I'm excited about that right now, Steve, is that I know I'm moving in the right direction.
Well, we had lessons learned, right? Because we had nicer rentals, single family. And when the economy shifted, nobody could afford that anymore.
Yep.
And so we wanted to put our place somewhere where we weren't going to get hurt again. It was like we're going to be at a level that anybody can afford, and it's needed and wanted, and that's what we're going to focus on.
I've been through 2 or 3 crashes now, and that stuff hurts and it doesn't feel good mentally as an entrepreneur. And I want to be in a position where I can not stress when the economy crashes. And I proved the model during COVID. I mean, our rentals stayed full for the mobile home parks. We actually it got full. Like we had like maybe 6-8% where the percentage of our rentals that weren't occupied, they all got filled up because people got scared and they downsized their rentals. So I know we're moving in the right direction. I want to, I'm just going around trying to spread the good news, so to speak.
Yeah.
That we've got to make mobile home parks great again because they're needed and wanted, folks. Like,
I mean, I think the point you're talking about, the rentals, is kind of like, for me as an investor, if I'm going to flip, I love to flip in sub median, right? Like our median right now is 397. So I feel comfortable flipping 250 to 300 all day because no matter what happens, someone needs a house between 250 and 300. Yep. So for you here, no matter what happens, someone needs to rent in a price point that's affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with all the political environment that's going on, I think just overall, as the world changes, everybody's going to need a place to live. Is it going to get better or worse as far as living conditions? I'm of the pessimistic view that I don't think we're heading in the right direction as far as economic wealth building for individuals in America. And I think the standard of living as a whole is probably going to come down as long as this political environment sustains itself. World history tells us that's going to happen. I don't mean to get all political, but I mean, how pretty vibrant I am on social media.
Yes, you are. I love it, actually. I love your message on it.
I've read enough history to know, I'm not talking on my ass. I've read hundreds of books on political environments, revolutions, and we have a communistic style revolution going on right now.
Well, what I do? I look at it, right, and all I do is I just like, man, it sucks right now if you're.
Well, Steve,
if you have a W-2.
You've experienced that.
Yeah. Well, I have, right? So I just look at it, but it sucks if you're a W-2. Like that's how I see it. Like with inflation going up, literally you're making less every year, and then so for me, it's like all we can do is just stack cash, right? Just, if we make as much as money possible, then you don't have to worry about it. But it sucks that most people don't have that option.
They don't. And I've been telling my wife, I said, we got to stack the cash for the crash, baby, because it's coming. Yeah. And it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be crazier than 2008. And it'll be interesting. We live in some fantastically interesting times. I have the mindset of I am pessimistic, but I'm also opportunistic in the sense that I think I'm going to make more money than I've ever made in my life.
Well, that's kind of how I look at it.
We bought more multifamily in
2020. Yeah, I mean, we bought almost $10 million worth of mobile homes during the crash of 2020 last year. Like everybody got, like I had been working mobile homes for like ever, like maybe 6-8 months a year. And no, they never wanted to sell it. They wanted a premium for it. But when that crash came and COVID hit and people stopped paying, I doubled down. I went all in, and we bought a bunch of parks. We bought, I think, 5-6 parks, a total of $8, $9, $10 million in valuations, and we got fantastic deals on them. But that takes timing, that takes preparation, that takes courage. And
well, you had to be prepared for it, and that's the big thing. Is most people are trying to prepare when it's too late.
Yes.
So then, what are you guys' biggest struggle right now?
Biggest struggle. Oh man. She doesn't make out with me anymore, Steve. I'm trying to figure out why she don't kiss me anymore. She's probably, it's like, you don't kiss me no more.
I like a peck or two.
That's really honest.
I don't like the full-on kiss.
You don't even kiss me no more. What? I got back to when we were 18, 19 years old. I'm a very, I'm an affectionate person, right, Steve? I need lots of love from my wife.
He needs lots of love.
And
he's hard to keep up with.
No, and she's, I'm messing with it. Like, I'm an open book. Like, I don't hide nothing about our marriage. I love my wife. I love my life. I think our biggest struggle for us is, chasing the dream and making sure that I'm doing it in the correct manner. Like, I'm not leaving anything on the table. Like, am I really going? Like, let's go. Let's freaking buy the best deals as fast as we can. How do we get more deals? How do we raise more private money? I think we're headed in the right direction. So our biggest struggle is to make sure that we stay on track and that we know where we came from, and we continue the journey of growing together and leave a fantastic example for our kids, for me. That's things I worry about. I want my kids to remember me 100 years from now, 200 years from now. Like, remember Papa Rood? It says 2020, 22, and it's 200 years from now. Like, yeah, Papa Rood, yeah, Chris Rood, yeah, from Yeah, back in the early 2000s. Yeah, he's the one that created all this wealth for us.
You know, I love it seems like a lot of in entrepreneurs, or at least the drivers, you know, like our biggest fear is not realizing our potential.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it seems like that is
Is it either Edgar Allan Poe or one of those guys said humanity's biggest downfall is unfulfilled potential. I'm probably butchering that because I don't know if it was Edgar Allan Poe. It was one of those guys, and it sticks in my mind. That is so true. Mankind's biggest, downfall is just unfulfilled potential.
Yeah, and I know it's something that in my own marriage, right? My wife's always like, "Why do you want more? Why do you want more?" Like we're good. Why do you want more? I was like, because I can.
Well,
Like,
it's a game
it's
too,
a
right? It's a game.
It's a game.
Like,
We talk
why
about
would you
this all
stop
the
playing
time.
the game? Like,
Yeah.
it's fun. Like, we're not dead yet. Like, we got to still keep
Yeah, I
playing.
mean, it's because as soon as you stop, you see this all the time. These people stop. Maybe they're 65. They made a ton of money. They stop, and then they die the next year. You're living your best life now. I'm having the time of my life now. I'm not trying to go arrive at a certain wealth performance. I'm living my best life now. I'll look back when my body's old and decrepit, like we had the time of our life, Patti. Why? So let's just go. This is the best part. Let's just keep going.
living your life with no regrets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is your biggest struggle right now?
Biggest regret right
Struggle.
now? Struggle. I find like this is so important and why we create barriers, because when we have to let those things in, that's our struggles. Like, we've had some random struggles with hurricane issues and stuff like that, but it's always an outside influence that brings the struggle. We usually always are pretty solid. So whenever we have an outside issue and it brings a struggle within, we just kind of talk ourselves off the edge, right? Like that's gonna fix itself. But honestly, that's probably been.
Well, when you said the struggle, she's talking about referred to the hurricane. We had bought another short-term vacation rental on the beach in Gulf Shores, Alabama last year, and we bought it before we even used it. It got destroyed by a hurricane. It's a year later, almost a year later. We still have not gotten any money for that. I had to come out of pocket. We spent $120,000 on the rehab. I had to come out of pocket. Insurance still has not given us our money. That's a barrier, right? That's called life.
It's stressful.
It's very stressful, but we play at a high level. We play a big game. You're gonna have things you can't predict, right? And we're supposed to get the money, for all the money we got out of pocket, next week. But it's just like one thing after another, and we had a struggle. Things you can't control.
Yes,
right?
Those are the struggles the things we can't. Things we can control are fine, but it's all those outside influences that you can't control.
And that's what we should talk about to those guys, that you're gonna have things you can't control.
Yeah.
So you gotta harden yourself, because life is hard by itself, right? And you got to be harder than life is, because I don't care how much.
You have to help each other out, because there are some days after dealing with attorneys and insurance and all that stuff bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, we had to sue the insurance just to get our money.
It's stressful, and it aggravates me, and he has to talk me off the ledge, But I'm appreciative that he'll do that and give me that time, because he lets kind of stuff like that go.
Yeah, if I can't control it, there's no point in putting energy on it.
Not for me. I'm like, oh no, I don't want anybody taking advantage of me. So he has to talk me off the ledge, but we help each other out.
I can't remember. It's something prayer, right? It's like, God give me strength.
Yeah.
Right? That whole thing.
Yep. That's a great verse. Yeah.
Serenity.
Yep.
Prayer.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the big thing. Cause there's times where people were freaking out. It's like, why aren't you upset about us? Cause I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it. I'm over it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
I struggle with that.
Yeah. So awesome. Is there any message that I know we hit on a whole bunch of different things, entrepreneurship, marriage. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with? I'll start with you and then wrap up with you.
I think find people in your life that inspire you and get around them, no matter if it costs money, takes, effort, and no matter what people tell you, that is going to be the cheat sheet for life. Human beings are amazing creatures. You can get around one person or two or three people and it can change your life. So if that costs $5,000 to do, or 10 grand or 20, or in my case, 100 grand, it'll be life changing for you. So in most cases, your mom and dad are probably not going to be your biggest influence. That's just honestly how it is. You don't ask a dentist about having brain surgery, right? If that makes sense, where I'm leading to. You go straight to so if your mom and dad are not where you want to be in life, or even your brother, your sister, anybody, or your friend, don't get advice from people that are not doing what you want to do. have high level conversations with low level people. And I'm not being derogatory about that, but it's a different wavelength. It's a different frequency and vibration when you're talking to somebody that's on a high level versus, your mom and dad who just genuinely love you and want you to go to college and get a job and make 80 grand a year for the rest of your life. And that worked for them. But if you're entrepreneurial like me and Steve and you have that thing that goes off in your head, like you're not doing what you're supposed to do and it's aggravating, you don't know why, but you have this internal like aggravation, you're probably an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you need to find other entrepreneurs just like you, because we're rare breeds and it's lonely at the top, like Steve said. This is why I go find my entrepreneurial buddies and allies, because I'm lonely and I need loving even from my entrepreneurial buddies. So I come meet Steve out here and other guys and speak, because dude, you can be black, white, Chinese, Mexican, fucking purple Martian. If you're an entrepreneur, you're my dog.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think for me is if there's something in your life that's making you unhappy, causing you struggles and stress, like be willing to think outside the box. We have always gone outside the box in our way of thinking, our way of living, like with the schooling, for example, like it wasn't working for us. We had tried it all. I'm like, okay, so there has to be a better option. And you when you go outside the box, sometimes is where the golden goose is, right? And for us, that's what it's been. Like we've always gone outside the box. Everybody else thought we were weird. Now a lot of my friends are doing the same thing with homeschooling. So it's like you have to be that first person to think outside the box, be willing to fail or lose, but to try something to make things better around you.
You're going to lose. I mean, to get it out of your mind. You're going to lose, but the mindset is you never lose. You only learn. If you understand that, you'll
and then
do
sometimes you do win, and you find it like, wow, why didn't I do this years ago? I'm so much more at peace and happier with my life this way. And so I would say just think outside the box and don't go on that same, when everybody goes left, we go right.
Yeah.
We have always done that, even from 17.
It works.
And it's been our best path. So be willing to take that path is where I would like to say. Yeah.
And if someone wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
I'm on Instagram. Living the Real Estate Life is my IG. And I'm also on Facebook, Patti Rood.
On Instagram, I'm Real Estate Rood, and on Facebook, Chris Rood Entrepreneur, and then my personal, Chris, I'm maxed out on friends. You just press the follow button. So, and if you want to come to one of the Make Mobile Home Parks Great Again Mastermind, inbox me. I think we got one coming up here soon, and come.
We do 4 events a year.
Yeah. Come be an ally with me and hang out with me, and let's make some stuff happen.
Awesome.
And I'll cook you some crawfish etouffee.
Oh man. Awesome. That alone is worth it. Thank you.
All right, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.